And I don't believe in hyphens either.
But all right, so it's and you know, equal, making this equal. If she get down on bending knee, she asks to marry her, then why can't he take her last name?
Are you
I mean, you
kidding
can
me?
do what you want. Tradition is
I'm
tradition.
just asking a question. It's okay. It's okay for her to propose. So why is it not okay for him to take her last name instead of her taking his last name?
Well, Ricky Williams just did that. The ex-football player.
Yeah.
Ricky Williams just did that. He took on his wife's last name. The one thing that I want to make clear, I'm not against all of this nuanced stuff, unless it's pedophilia, it's this whole gender, all of that stuff. Like I don't pedophilia. Like if stuff that I'm against. But all of this nuanced stuff that the ladies want, take my last name. If that man want to take your last name, then that's what he decides to do.
That's just the type of man.
But if you're going to do that, you don't get to customize the circumstances. You don't get to open up the can of worms, take out one worm, and close the can back up. No, you get everything that comes along with it. Because I'll be the first one to tell you this: if you bring to a man that you want him to take your last name, a alpha man is never going to do that.
Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome to Kansas Conversations. I'm your host, Kyra, and thank y'all for tuning in tonight. This is gonna be a quick show, y'all, so don't get too comfortable with us. I know y'all missed us. We've been gone for a minute, but we're gonna get this party started so we can get on, get off, and do what we do. So our first, of course, guest, co-host person is Rashawn Davis. Our lovely fighter.
Throw me to the wolves first. Good evening, everybody.
Wolves first.
You always throw me to the wolves first.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I'm used to it. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. I still got my Cowboy stuff on. Football season's over.
It's over.
But the Dallas Cowboys will win the Super Bowl next year. I'm going on record.
God bless them. God bless them. We know. And let's bring on the birthday boy who wasn't here for his birthday. Let's bring out Mr. Derek the Deacon.
Oh my God. Why you always lying? Why would this guy get out here and say some junk like that?
I had to. I'm sorry. Cowboy world. I had to. And I'm dressed for the
honest man for so long. I don't know why you want to start this show off with just outright lies, just lying, just blatant lies.
You don't even watch football like that.
And I know you lying.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Hey y'all, been a long time. Should have left you without a note. Step two.
I can't.
I caught the last show. Y'all was real aggressive. I was like, oh, this is why I don't get fired.
You got me in the trenches by myself.
Who was being aggressive?
Y'all was aggressive. That was an intense episode.
Lord. All right, and now we have our special guest co-host. This is the Queen of Shade, Miss Tawana Warner.
Hello.
Hi,
Tawana. Combos.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Always, always. This was a day meant to be.
I like your hair.
That was
Thank you.
She
Thank
just
you.
got
So
it.
They got it on sale downtown.
No, they don't. I had to order this.
Got it.
I'm sorry. I
Everybody just drop that box off.
had to
Now,
order
she's
this.
like, I'm about to kill him.
Well, it looks cute. It looks cute.
I ain't even had to do the part. They did it for me.
That's the best thing about having one of those things.
They are so convenient.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody. We know we ain't been on because Derek wanted to take a birthday break, so we've been taking some time off.
That was my fault.
You
That
know,
was my birthday.
he 50 years old now, so he need his rest.
Yeah.
Not even. How old did you turn, Derek?
72.
That's even worse. What is you doing? Is that you sucking out your gums?
Does that mean you lost your teeth?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? You're not alone because when you look around now, not too many people have them anyway. So I think that's going to be the next style.
I'm trying to tell you something.
Get gummed up. Get gummed up. Get gummed up.
Mm-hmm.
You just made a song out of that.
He done did something. But okay, everybody. So tonight's topic is: did the baby boomers destroy the traditional culture? So before we get into everything, and we gotta do, y'all already know what the rules of the game is. The link is gonna be posted at the bottom, pinned to the comments. If y'all want to come on, you're more than welcome. You get your 5 minutes of fame.
Uh-oh.
Get your 5 minutes of fame, speak your mind, then you got to go.
Oh, wow.
Those-
Speak
those
your
are
mind, and the rest will follow.
If you don't, and Derek say you gotta go, then we gotta follow the rules of the deacon, and y'all gotta
Be
go.
colorblind. Don't be so shallow.
And so, since we are talking about the baby boomers, I was very confused, first of all, with all of this baby boomers, millennials, Gen X, Gen Z. I wasn't understanding it. So, because some people saying that is wrong, they changed it. That's not how it was. So, I Googled it. Because Google ain't never steered me wrong yet.
But they did change it.
See, Derek, you saying they changed it, but I don't know if did they?
Yeah, because
What do we consider?
Because I was Generation X, but now I'm considered a millennial.
Well, it says baby boomers are born from 1946 to 1964.
Whoa.
I thought it was later than that.
No, that's what it says. It says boomers is 1946 to 1964. Gen X is 1965 to 1976. Millennials is 1977 to 1995. And Gen Z is 1996 to 2015.
So with the boomers, I would throw Gen X in then with that whole scenario.
So don't
Well,
blame
I'm a
us.
millennial because I was born in 77.
Guess what? I just think all of everything has changed. Everything.
Yeah, that's what
even.
Did you?
That's what they're trying to say.
Kyra,
So-
did you start Instagram?
Did I start Instagram? I think I did. I didn't.
I don't know.
I
It
see
says
your
where-
hoodie. That's a good night. That's a nice little hoodie.
Who you talking to?
You.
It's
So
so
talking about
old.
who you talking to.
It's
That's
old.
retro.
This is an old Candid Conversations hoodie.
It's new to me.
What?
I ain't got none.
Look, you don't got nothing else to say, so all you can say is what?
That's all I got. That's all I got.
I'm sorry, that's all you got. Some Cowboys, some poor.
Your co-host is looking for the apparel, the Candy Convo apparel.
I told you I'm still on probation. I'm on probation every week.
I'll tell y'all this. I promise everybody will get a Candid Conversations hoodie, okay? That's my word. A new and improved Candid Conversations hoodie, because this is mad old.
Well,
This
it
is
looks
when
good.
we first-
It looks good from here.
They
This
do.
is when we first started out 4 years ago. This is how it's old.
Oh, okay.
Worker Derek did it. Get at me and his little prop. Give him his props. He did this hoodie. So now that we know what the gender, I don't know if this is correct, because like I said, everybody saying that is incorrect, but this is what they give us. So the boomers are from 1946 to 1964. So Tawana, what are you? Gen X?
I'm 76. So what am I?
You Gen X.
Oh.
Besides that. Old plus Gen X.
Sean, what are you?
You look good for 76.
That will be the year.
No, I'm saying you look good for that year.
Oh, thank you.
I could have sworn you was in the 80s. I thought you was an 80s baby. I didn't know you was all the way you was like up there with the seasoned folks.
Yeah, I'm well seasoned and marinated.
All right now.
Okay. Don't let the braids fool you.
Oh.
No shade.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to.
What you trying to do?
I'm trying to see what she's trying to do because
I'm trying.
trying to go
Derek
live.
said the live. Derek said the live. It says that we're live, so it says it's live.
Yeah, it says we're live, but it's definitely not up on IG.
All right, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna reconnect it. I'm sorry, y'all. We're gonna get to the conversation. I have to.
I was assuming boomers mean like the younger generation, though. So boomers is more of the older generation.
It's the older generation.
That's like our parents.
Yeah, I guess boomers. Yeah, that do kind of sound like them. I don't know
I
what
never
to call
understood
this.
what baby boomers means. I thought that was they was talking about the now it just went. It just came on. I thought baby boomers was the horny group.
All right.
The horny group.
Yeah, because you say baby boomers. So if you that means you was out here chucking and
Booming?
jucking.
Oh, making the babies.
Right.
You out here booming?
Okay, this is what they say about baby boomers. It says baby boomers were born from approximately 1946 to 1964. It was a wave of births created approximately after World War II, during a time of economic expansion that included the creation of the first suburbs. But it is important to know that baby boomers do not remember World War II. So
makes sense. The births.
Yeah, the births came
that's
after
our
World War
parents.
II.
Yeah, that's our parents. That's the births.
It says that baby boomers are known for their work ethic and work style, as well as the impact they've had on leadership of organizations. They are also the parents of millennials.
No, we the parents of the millennials, right?
And I would say Gen Z, like my mom's is a baby boomer.
It says, and then
boomers.
It says Gen X were born between 1965 to 1976. They came of age in the midst of skyrocketing divorce rates in the United States. a new trend of both parents working and the birth of personal computing and personal technology devices such as the Atari and Walkman. Gen X witnessed the start of Gen X witnesses the start of MTV and was influenced by popular high school movies such as 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, and so forth. In addition, Gen X, particularly in the United States, came of age during the beginning of the AIDS epidemic, crack epidemic, and energy crisis. Gen X has proven to be excellent leaders and founded many of today's most influential tech companies, including Google and Dell.
So you know which one I am.
Oh, please.
I mean, some of it sound correct, but it still sound a little mixy too.
And then millennials are known as Gen Y, Echo Boomers, and digital natives. They were born from 77 to 95. However, if you were born anywhere from 1977 to 1980, you are a cusper, which means you have characteristics of both millennials and Gen X. This is an advantage because it makes you empathy to both generations. Millennials come of age during the time of rapid technology, mobile phones, internet, email, digital photos, and much, much more. Oh, we came into the world when it was terrorist attacks, and Facebook began, the Great Recession. In many countries, including the United States, millennials are the largest generation in the workforce and marketplace. Millennials are finally entering their wealth phase and starting families. So those is what they saying. I guess I'm a cusper because I was born in 77. So I'm a millennial, but I'm a cusper millennial.
You do be
That makes
cussing.
no sense.
You do be cussing.
A lot.
You do be cussing.
I cuss a lot. So I don't think so. By saying that the baby boomers destroyed the traditional culture, do y'all believe that to be true?
Maybe with some of the things that they did get mixed up in, because it sounds like some things is where it kind of started. Like some things kind of started back in their era, that it got worse since their era.
Yeah.
So it does seem like some of those things have been trickled down, but very differently.
Yeah. Like I would say, some things started once they were, let's say, born. And then once they were teenagers into adults, a lot of things happened within that time frame, which is, like, I jotted down. You got the women's liberation movement along with the civil rights movement, welfare in Section 8, free love, HIV, blaxploitation, the independence era, the crack epidemic, and integration. That was all in that time frame.
Yeah.
You know, when they were children up until they were adults. You know, like, I was born in 73. So along all of that, like, I was a baby. You know, my mom and my dad was baby boomers. So, you know, they were, teenagers to adults, went into being men and women amongst all of that I, done said. So I think that it probably started with that, because right before those 60s, our culture was more, it was more united.
Yeah.
It wasn't as much political nonsense, with that women's liberation movement. I think that our women got drawn into that, because that didn't come until the civil rights movement, I think, was 65. around 65, and then 67 is when they added the women's rights / women's liberation movement, which was thrown in by white women to get the black women to add into their women's liberation agenda.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so that was when they were either teenagers or adults. So it was a breakdown, and even looking at marriages in our community. You know, black marriage rates in the 1940s and 50s was 80%. In the 1960s, it was 74%. 2008 dropped to 32%.
Wow.
Up until 2023, now is 26%. So from the 50s into the 60s and the 70s, it was a trickle down of our community.
Yeah, and I think things were more able to be controlled or like kind of handled a little better. I think when it came to our generation, that's when things really got out of hand. As far as just how things was just moving in the world, period. When I look back, as far as like, you know, coming up and compared to the children that we have now, somewhere, somehow things just got out of order.
Way
So we got more access to information.
Yeah.
It's a lot more of an abundance of a lot of different things than what they had back then. It was easier.
The only trick that I feel like with us having more ways to information, even with the technology, I feel like it's good and it's bad, because I feel like even in the technology world, some of it is placed to throw people off, make them more confused on what's going on, how to deal with things, because it's like now you don't have like a lot of verbal communication. Everything is go online, you know, even with leaving your information, you know, that's why I feel bad for even like the older people and the seniors, because it's just like even throwing this technology in the world for them, how would they even be able to grasp that kind of stuff, you know? And even when you're paying bills or doing stuff like that, let's just say the card place took too much or something, you know, some of these people are not going to know how to get in contact with these companies, and most of these companies are not going to be honest to get back in contact with, you know. So I feel like a lot of stuff just got, I feel like the world wanted to come together to make it more easier, and thinking like doing it the technology way and how they getting things, trying to get things in order. But I think because it was thrown out there too quick, it's still really not in the order. From where our boomers came from, they kind of did a lot of hands-on, a lot of more communication. I feel like a lot of things that they did and some of the things that they were doing, they had more knowledge on verbally than how things are like given out now for people to understand.
Even to dive into that, because this is on destroying of the traditional outlet. So I like to ask Derek, and then I'll ask the women. Integration. You know, our men was on the front line, you know, marching on them bridges, getting hit by water hoses, all stuff like that. And then boom, integration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where we were thriving in our communities, in certain communities. Of course, it wasn't every community. And then I remember a phrase by Martin Luther King, which he said to Malcolm X in a personal meeting. I think we integrated our culture or our community into a burning building by integrating instead of staying in our community and our own culture, right? Mm-hmm. And that's from the men's side. So I'll leave that to Derek. As far as the women, as far as the women's liberation movement, I remember reading on the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War was from 55 to 75. And the men were away fighting the war, right? The women were home in the workforce. And they gave them, of course, the Welfare Act and all of that. There was the Age Discrimination Act as well. to whereas the elderly can go back into the workforce because so many men was away fighting the war. But the thing that there's something called the Moynihan Report, where he had Daniel Patrick Moynihan. The report was in 1965 when he looked at the Black family, and it was like the myth of welfare, where it was like the men can't be in the home. But the one thing that he saw was when the white men came home and the white employment went up, white women employment and welfare went down, and they went back into family. But when Black men came home and Black employment went up, the Black women employment and welfare didn't decline. It stayed the same, and some went up. So that myth of, or that conversation of the Black man in the house can't be in the house, because I remember that when they used to come to your house and look in your house, and a Black man couldn't live there, or you didn't get welfare.
Right.
Right. And if you used to go down to Jacobs and Woolworth and all of that, and if they found a man or any men things in your house, you wouldn't get welfare no more. So was that the illusion of independence on aligning ourselves with the women's liberation movement, which wasn't even for us, because Black men wasn't oppressing Black women. We were a part of the oppression along with it. But when we came back home, the Black men came back home, the family unit didn't get back together. So how do we think about the Black women claiming their independence? And I think that's where since we have money, I'm independent, I'm a strong, independent woman, I don't need no man, because we have money, because that's where it came from. Our moms and, not our grandmothers, but our mothers and aunts and whatever, where they were saying, go get your education so you don't have to depend on nobody. But that has nothing to do with the family unit. That's you being able to take care of yourself like an adult. So as far as that, I don't know if you, Derek, if you still have that, as far as integration, should us as men, as leaders, should have stood firm and built up our community more.
Of course we should have.
Versus integrating.
Of course we should have. But we already seen with what happened when you build up your community too much.
Yes.
It's their job to come in and break it down. And we
Black
still
Wall
see
Street.
it. Right. We still see that today. If you look at things are systematically placed in places that will keep us at bay, but also keep us from really reaching our fullest potential. So us assimilating was a ploy to keep us from getting strong, because if we are a part of something, then they can keep their foot on our necks, so we can't grow to our fullest potential. Where if we are away, then we strengthen ourselves, so then their foot wouldn't mean anything to us. So, and we can still see examples of that today. Tubi is if we want to go a little further back, Def Comedy Jam, things like this. These were things that they systematically gave to us.
BlackPlanet.com.
Black Planet, BET. These are things that they gave to us. They allow for us to have. They allow for us to have our own programming, and because if they let us have it, but they have control over it, they can control how strong and how strong we get.
You remember BET back then? Woo.
Yeah, Lita and all of them. That's what I'm saying. So these things are placed in places, and we look at it, and we still look at it like that slave mentality. Like, oh, thank you, master. Remember,
Bob Johnson owned BET.
Right?
Then they sold it to Viacom. Before he sold it to Viacom, they used to have like the Black College Experience.
Mm-hmm.
They used to have all Black programming as far as promoting progression
Right.
in our community. And once they sold it to Viacom, which was the owner of MTV and VH1,
Right.
that's when they started to really push like toxic programming.
Right.
Yeah.
But we never truly really owned anything. So even before he sold it, it still wasn't ours. It's just they gave us a voice. And we were able to build that voice to a certain extent.
Yeah, we had more control. Yeah, I get it.
But it wasn't ours. That's the same thing like Bill Cosby trying to buy CBS. You think they was and
NBC, NBC.
NBC, and you see how that played out. So the reality is that if we would have focused, if we would have went the Wakanda way and focused on building us up, build up our own, and get stronger as a people before assimilating, before even thinking about assimilating, we will be in a better position than we are today, presently.
Now, ladies, what you think about that? The whole joining a women's liberation movement with white women when it wasn't truly our fight as far as against the men, because the black men didn't have the power of oppression. That was a white man thing. And then once white men came home, white women went right back to their families. But it seems like a lot of our black women, went that independent route. Of course, there's some that needed to take care of their families, of course. But just to hear it from a woman's perspective.
I don't think that and Thomas, you go sit down.
I'm trying not to even pay attention to him right now.
Because I saw what Thomas had said, and Thomas said, so are you saying black women willingly participated in the destruction of the black community? I don't think that the black women willingly participated in the destruction of anything.
Yeah, some did what they had to do. Yeah.
I think that when the men did come home, they had choices to make, because at the end of the day, when they came home, did they have jobs? Did the men have jobs?
Yes, the black men employment went up in the report.
Acts too. So they did have jobs.
I mean, I've spoken on a Monahan report here before, and just the data stated that that when they came home, the black men employment went up, not as much as white men, but black men employment went up, but white women employment went down way further than black women went down. Mm-hmm. Black women chose to, go the more independent route, which you saw with our generation. Get your degree, go make your mistakes, go live your life, and such and such and such. Which I don't subscribe to. I don't believe in that. But that's where a lot of that. I heard a lot of that when I was coming up. Get your degree so you don't need no man. When I was like,
because I think it's just kind of hard to speak on to really speak on the mind frame of where they was at back then, because I wasn't there. So
get it.
so
yeah, it's like we can't really say why they made those choices,
I mean, just the myth alone. Like when I read the report, it gave me a different, mindset of what was really going on, or what could be going on back then. That because we were painted a picture that like all the black men just were on drugs and not doing nothing.
Well,
unemployment.
I don't know about that part either, but
No, I'm just saying
I
like
know,
a narrative.
I know, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but like
Yeah.
I know the narrative that I got back from those days was that the women still had to provide for the families and things like that because it wasn't a lot of jobs, even though they probably worked, but was it substantial enough to take care of a household? Because back in those days, it was a lot of them. It wasn't like they was only having 1 or 2 children.
Yeah.
So when you for instance, like my mother is 1 of 10. So I could just imagine how that is. I'm
Yeah.
1 of 4. So my mom had 4 kids. So I could just imagine how that is to try to take care of a family and your husband isn't bringing enough home to actually take care of the family, which is why, of course, you would stay on assistance and hide the husband or the boyfriend. You know, but people found their way around that man still living there without getting caught. We all think that. What was the name of that movie?
That was was the
What was the name of that movie that came
that
out
was
with
the very
Claudette?
first Snitches
Was
Get
it-
Stitches.
And Claudette, this was like a really old movie. And you
Snitches get
see her
stitches.
hiding the
That's
dude.
where that term came from.
What?
Snitches get stitches. It came from women hiding their men. And
Yeah,
then,
right.
and then people outside, Geraldine and them say, going and tell them, like, listen, there's a man living in there. Pearl Ann Rose. Pearl Ann Rose was
Yes.
the first woman that said it. She said, listen, she looked at Josephine and said, listen, snitches get stitches. Run your mouth one more time. That was the
It's
moment in
just
Black
like the
history.
it's like a movie that I saw in Bridget Claudine, where in the movie in Claudine, the welfare worker always came to her house and she
Yeah.
wasn't allowed to have anything nice, anything expensive in her home. Otherwise, they felt as though she was bringing in more money. She had to
Yeah.
hide her man, even though her man bought her nice things. She had to hide it when the welfare lady came. Until one day, you know, he got busted in the house. But the way she was grilling her, even in that movie, was like they really wasn't allowed to have anything. Otherwise, they're gonna take her stamps away. So she always was hiding stuff. She could never have anything because they would take her stamps away.
Well,
And she had-
let me ask you with that. You say he used to buy her nice things, so I'm going to assume that he could provide something.
yeah, but
Right?
she couldn't show it. She couldn't show it.
Yeah, so that's the somewhat of the question I'm asking. Was it better to have the family unit together versus all of this trickery and all of this hiding and this, that, and the third, and having somebody like Derek said, having Massa in your household, pulling the strings, to whereas now you got to do all of this manipulating versus just man, woman, children doing what you got to do.
But that was the original plan. It was it was systematic. That was the original plan. Drive the man out of the household, and women had to make a decision. Am I going to keep my man
or my independence,
or keep my independence? Well, it wasn't even their independence. I'm gonna keep my dependence from a sure thing than putting my trust in my black man. So you have so you left a lot of women who said, well, I'm gonna put my trust in this sure thing because I know that's
I'm gonna get this check.
I'm gonna get this check. I'm gonna get these stamps. I'm gonna be able to give me some eggs and bacon and whatever else I want. Where and that's where the breakdown of the family unit started. Because people didn't want to believe. So kind of what he was saying about the breakdown of the black community, it started with a decision. It started a decision that said, I'm not going to stand by my man. I'm going to stand by the door for the mailman to come and give me these checks. And that's where the breakdown happened. So if you have
more safe.
Because from the 50s to the 60s to the 70s, it was a totally different, totally different culture, basically, as
Mhm.
far as camaraderie in our community and family. With the breakdown, I mean, and it's crazy because it happened that fast. To where it's like now, that mindset now, that independent mindset, I do what I want to do. It's really ingrained from a real negative, toxic standpoint right now. Like I see that, and it's like, whoa. Just imagine what it's gonna look like 10 years from now.
Right.
Yeah. I guess people are taking it, differently because like you said, it depends. I guess how where it come from, how it was presented, why you need to do it. So I guess different women stand on it in different ways. And then now when you look at it, not all men, but a lot of men is less stable more than women, I believe. It looks like. I
What
can't
now?
say sure. Yeah. I mean, I haven't read up on it, but I'm just
But it was set up that way.
I just
It was
think
only,
that
it
I
was set
think
up
they
that way
took.
from the beginning.
I
If
think that they took
that whole idea of women making that choice was set up so that men can be unstable.
mm,
It gave women their dependence,
mhm,
their
I think,
independence / dependence.
I,
So then and with that, as you see most times with men, it does something to a man's psyche when you're standing there and you're like, hey, I'm here, let me provide and let me do my job, and you said no, I'm good because
mhm.
Master gonna send me a check and I'll be able to handle it. I don't need you here.
Yeah.
but
That's not stable.
I think that's dangerous to say. I mean, as far as like what the true data speaks of,
Yeah.
because besides white women, there's there's no other woman that make more than black men. Every in every culture or race, the man makes more than the woman. Now, whatever is someone's personal experience, because I had somebody say that to me. Oh, me and my sisters make more than my brothers. That's your house. It ain't got nothing to do with the culture. The culture is different. The last numbers that I think we looked at it yesterday, that black men were around, on average, 50,000, and women were like 42, somewhere around there, something like that per year. I mean, so black men make more than black women. But just speaking of the family unit, the family unit, we only at 20 something percent as far as marriages is concerned. So the family unit isn't something that's in abundance for us to really peek in on and speak about. It has been broken down, since. Like we've done research on this show to whereas there's 2.5 million black men that just went into the upper class alone, by themselves. Black fathers are the leading faces of fatherhood in the country. I just had a conversation today with somebody and they had no clue. They was just following a narrative that black men ain't shit. And then when I went into looking into the data and pulling up articles, they were like, I had no clue about this. I was like, because you subscribe to a narrative I was like, black men are doing very well. I mean, they ain't doing as well as white men, but they're doing well.
Right, but they're doing well, but they're not doing well they're not doing well as far as they're doing well isolated. It's an isolated group. So black men
Because like 75% of us are single.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Isolated. So those black men are not coming into family situations and bringing families up to a certain standard.
Yes.
They're doing this one, and they're choosing to stay. Most of them are choosing to stay in single and do well on their own because they have the freedom to do whatever they want rather than being held down by a family narrative.
But that's another topic in conversation for another day of why, because I speak to a lot of young men on why they don't look into marriage, and we spoke on that. Remember, there was the article that went out that said 1 in 3, women just go on dates for the food.
Right.
40%, almost 40% of DNA tests come back not the testing father. A lot of men out here are afraid, of losing their success because divorce rates in our community is at 80%. Well, 70% and 80% by women. So a lot of men is looking at it like, why should I go into marriage when I'm just going to lose everything that I fought for?
And you're absolutely right. But
I've heard that plenty of times.
But this goes back to the beginning, those stages of
trusting the family unit.
Right. Breaking that family unit apart. Because these are not things that just happen overnight. This is things that happen over a duration of time. And number one, it started with first giving women a false sense of independence. You can do this without a man.
Without a man, yeah. Not realizing you're losing out on the masculinity in the home, the guidance for the young man, mannerisms, and just different things, that the instincts of a man. Now we got a lot of young men that's going out into the world that don't have the tools that they need to be men. And I never take anything from single women, but just like a single man with girls, you need women to show these little girls, certain aspects of women, because we don't possess that.
Right.
The same as young boys need men, whether it's your coaches, your teachers, whatever, to show them certain things that maybe a woman don't possess. Just instincts alone. Just, my sons, they look at me. I never sit with my back to the door. Never. I always walk towards the curb. If I hear something, I always shield the woman. It's certain things, certain mannerisms that, I possess as a man that, make me protect the family. Somebody comes in his house, ain't nobody going to that door. If I hear bumps in the night, ain't nobody going besides me. Nobody going besides me.
She dependent. Go on downstairs and call. If something go wrong, scream upstairs. I'll be down in a minute.
But yeah, it's just certain things. It's just certain things that young men I see now. They're more emotional. Young boys, they should learn, logic, decision making, conflict resolution. Certain things, instead of getting emotional and mad and just acting, you need to take a step back and assess the situation and say, what's going on here? Instead of just blowing up. If your woman getting mad and say, oh, I need such and such. Now you behind her like, we're going to jump you. Like, no, you need to assess this the right way to say, hey.
Listen, I saw a glimmering cat eyes. She about to... So as you said that, she like, it's about to get real.
Let's go.
Don't even do me like that, Derek.
It's about to get real at 48-32.
Let's go. But that independence, you know what made me feel some sort of way, to be honest, because I hear that I don't need no man, I could do whatever, and I'll flip the coin as well, is COVID. COVID. When COVID would, like, the heat of COVID was really, really, thick. I was out there, not just working, but shopping, and I was out there when it looked like I Am Legend, and there was nobody out there on the streets. It looked weird. It looked like a movie, and I saw some of my sisters in the supermarkets, snatching up cases of water, and I would grab, like, yo, I got you. And it was like no, this is the part where, and you didn't see as many, white women or Hispanic women. And it made me feel some sort of way. And that's when I started really talking about, further, because Derek, you can attest to this. I've been speaking on let's get back to family for years, right? I've shared posts where you've seen it. I've been talking about let's get back to family for 10 years. But when I saw that in COVID, I really feared, like, for some of my sisters being alone. You know what I mean? Because you never know, you going home and people seeing you, going to these homes by yourself and going into your apartment by yourself. You never know who's going to follow you to try to do something to you because there's no man there. And I've heard people say before, like, if I need a man, I can call the police, or I can call the fire department, or I can call this, or I can call that. Like, they may not get there in time.
Yeah, but the thing is, the way, you're speaking about men, and I understand where you're coming from your point of view,
Yeah.
But I just think that there's not a lot of men that's presentable the way you're seeing it, to where as though women can feel like they can have that security with a man. Yes, it should go that way. Yes, women should have it. But unfortunately, it's just really not a lot of men that offer that anymore. And that's why I think a lot of women is standing on feeling like they can, be independent by themselves. Because you got men, like you said, you see women where you wanted to carry water for them. You got men sometimes that'll walk past that and would never offer to carry water.
I believe that. I believe that. I also believe there was a lot of good men that were passed up for men that wasn't even men to begin with. And some women.
I get that part, and I understand what you're saying. Where I think it's good men out there and it's bad men out there. But at the end of the day, depending on the type of man that you had, and depending on the type of man that you chose to have children with, and so forth and so on, is why women have to be independent. Because okay, I chose the wrong man, but that still doesn't neglect the fact that I still have a family to take care of. I still got kids to take care of. You still got to do what you got to do to take care of your household. Now, is it impossible for that man that you had a kid with to still be in that child life? No, it's not.
Absolutely not.
Exactly. It's not hard for a man. You don't have to actually, don't get me wrong. It's a good thing to have a man in the household. It is. It's good to have a two-parent household. But if it's not like that, then you have to make the best out of your situation.
But now let me ask you this. Are we making the best out of our situations?
What do you mean by that?
Because I'm from an era where it was always said you had the child by the bad guy, and then later on chose the good guy that you passed up to help raise the bad guy's child. So he was corny in the beginning, or he wasn't as exciting then. But then once you matured and you seen what it really took to raise a family and what it took to, for a family to succeed, then that guy became more attractive. Okay. I've seen that in my era. Have you two seen that?
Of course you see it. But understanding,
that could go. I'm sorry. That could go either way. But at the end of the day, that decision still was already made. Whatever decision was made was made. Whoever you had that kid with, that kid was made with that person. Is no going back.
No, we know that. We're talking.
I had a good man in front of my face, and I let him go, and I decided to be with this person that wasn't as good as the person that I was with previously, because everybody grows, everybody changes.
Yes.
You're allowed to.
Yes. That's what I'm about to say. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the mindset that gets, evolved into what is really needed
Everybody
these children.
everybody has to grow, and that just depends on your circumstances, your situation, and how you was raised. Because everybody, of course, everybody ain't raised the same way. Like me, I was raised with two parents in my household. My mother wasn't on welfare. We wasn't on welfare. So when I was growing up, we wasn't on welfare. So it all depends on your mindset and what your home situation was, the things that you were taught.
Yes. And what you've seen.
Yeah.
And what you've seen. Observable reality sometimes, help extremely. It can help extremely by just the things that you see. But sometimes we choose to insert things that we see into the progression of our lives because we just want to do what we want to do. Do what I want to do. I say what I want to say. Ain't nobody can tell me nothing. We got a lot of rebels out here that know that this is not the right thing to do. But since ain't nobody can tell me nothing, I do what I want to do. I deal with the consequences when it comes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For every action, there's a reaction.
Yeah.
For every action, there's a reaction.
Some people are reactive, some people are proactive.
Yeah, because it's a reason that we went from 80% of our families
I'm still here,
house with children to now, 26% marriage and 80% single mothers and almost 20% single fathers. Something happened. You know what I mean? Something happened and we accepted it because it's still going. And it's looking like Derek, it's looking like pay attention to this. With how our youth is looking at family, no matter how much the data shows that single parent households do worse than two parent households, right? We're still not seeing an abundance of, families. Just imagine when the baby boomers and the those first millennials, just imagine when they die. That 26% is going to be even less, which from historically looking at the data, the toxicity is going to go up even further.
Right.
If we don't get a hold on this, because we still got a lot of baby boomers that's still around, married, and it's within the numbers of our marriage statistics and the family unit. So just imagine, that's why I said, just imagine what 10 years from now looks like. When you got a lot of Jewish families, they promote marriage and have as many kids as you can. That's what they promote. Have as many kids as you can in marriage so we can build our wealth, so we can buy up property, so we can do all of these things that we need to do. While that's what
they do too. That's what they do too.
Yes, while we're still trying to figure out something where the numbers is already there. The numbers is already there. The numbers is already there. We don't gotta do too much research. We don't gotta too much asking questions. We can get ahead and go on blackdemographics.com. We can go on Pew. We can go on all of these different places and see what our community, what the products that we're presenting to the world. We can go online and see this.
Mm-hmm.
But we get so defensive and argumentative and the separatism instead of saying, you know what, we need to sit down and figure this out. If you don't want to get married, you ain't got to get married. That's up to you. But you don't have to be married to take care of these children. Exactly. You don't have to do that.
Well, I guess that depends on the mindsets of the people.
The mindset, that's what it is. The mindset, that's what it is.
It's always going to be about the mindset, because it's just like some people take social media and reality TV and they try to put that into their own lifestyle. When that's TV, that's entertainment. People don't get that part. Mm-hmm. It's for them, it's real life. Mm-hmm. And I want to be like this person. And that's why you have us out here on social media, acting the way we acting, looking the way we looking, disrespecting each other because they think that's what was good, what's it, what make you popular, what get you views. That's what this new generation is all about.
And
Yes.
that's why we can't stick together, because now people are so in tuned into how things are going on social media that we can't even concentrate on how we need to do things right here, because we're too tuned in thinking that their way is our way.
Yeah. And it's moments. It's just moments. You know what I mean? It's not a lifespan of success. It's just moments, because you know, if you go into, you know, some homes, and like I work in the city, I know that it's some people that act as if it's grandioso. That's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would never say it. I can't say it because of law, but it's not
But
the case.
That's just like social media. You have a lot of people on social media. They like to flaunt their relationships and things like that. But if people actually really notice, they only flaunting what they feel as though it's the good stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not going to show the bad stuff because you don't want people to know that part. You don't want people to know the real part of your relationship. You only want people to see the good parts of your relationship, and then people run around like, "Oh, relationship goals."
Which one of y'all? Which one of y'all is following these questions? I've seen a lot of comments that came through. I don't want no sauce, but I mean, we can at least.
It's some comments here,
and I got knocked off because somebody was calling me from Facebook.
They was like, get off of the devil's.
Hey girl, how can I ask you a question?
But Derek, anything juicy up there?
No, a lot of good points. Bridget said that's a product of the environment too. What we taught at the time to be good or bad, then we get out a certain environment we know and want better. Things are oftentimes get lost in translation.
Yes.
Too many people want to take the elevator and not the stairs.
Yeah.
I
like
agree.
that. I like that.
Me too. I like that.
I said,
let me ask you this, because I've heard this in my youth. When you get around 18, 19, 20 or whatever, don't worry about no relationships. Get out there and make your mistakes. Now there's a thing that I just researched, Derek, that's called a ring before spring. You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Ever heard of that? It's actually they actually made a movie about it, and it's in our counterparts culture, wherein it's supposedly in a white culture, to where they promote in your senior year to make sure you secure a ring before spring, where a lot of our parents was telling us, don't worry about no relationship. Get out there and make your mistakes and live your life. So do you think that we were given the wrong advice? Because even in marriage, you know, we're 26%. The whites are over 50%. They're like 54, 56% in marriage. You know, even though they had a small decline from the 60s, which were like 70% down to almost 60%. So they promote get a ring before spring, where we were promoting get out there and make your mistakes and live your life, which I'm not a fan of, because now once you get around 30 and you got all of this dating trauma, you got all of these insecurities, you may have a kid, you know, you may even have an STD. You may have a lot of different things that may keep you from a good man.
Right.
Or keep you from a good woman. I mean, because of all of the trauma and drama that you don't have within you, versus that ring before spring and you and this young person get together, in which they used to call an IKEA marriage recently.
Well, I don't think when they were saying that they thought that we was going to have this kind of drama and so much trauma going on in the universe that we have. You know, I think back then when they thought about, you know, when their parents basically told them the same thing, you know, before they really get settled, I think the world wasn't as bad as it is now. So they did have a chance to really enjoy life before they settled down. So I
But
think,
what's enjoying life?
like, basically not really settling for somebody if you're not for sure if you're going to be with that person forever. You know, you don't know if you're going to be with that person forever. So let's just say that you do happen to be young and you wind up settling and you didn't really get a chance to enjoy life, to meet and mingle and maybe take up different careers or go to school or do different things, to where as though you may be able to meet, you know, your mate or your love of your life. Instead of, let's just say you're now still with a high school sweetheart that years later, decades later, because the way the world is, you know, things may not stay the same. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But I do believe that at a certain age, you know, you should mingle and do things before you really settle down, unless you know you're with the right person. But I think, like I said, when the parents was presenting that, you know, we did have people in the world that I guess they can, they didn't see it how, to me, the world just went chaos, period.
Right.
Like, even from
You
our
know
time,
why?
it just
But
went chaos.
you take
why though?
you take the last 30, 40 years, that same ideology just got worse.
Mhm.
Right, but you know, but
Yeah,
for that
but
very reason of go out and explore, make your mistakes, because there is a innocence to being naive.
Yeah.
So
Because
if I
you're not supposed to do that.
right, because if I'm supposed to marry if I'm supposed to marry my person, find my person,
Yeah.
marry my person, if I've only eaten chicken, I don't have to worry about any other thing because chicken is all I care about. But because
Yeah.
I've been out and now I had barbecue chicken,
I had
fried
all of
chicken,
this other shit.
yeah.
all this other stuff. Now I have a degree to compare the two to each other and
Yeah.
say, okay, well, I don't really
Yeah.
like barbecue chicken because I like that General Tso's chicken a lot better now. So now I'm out here running up and down the street behind a Chinese.
Now you got a
person.
roster.
Right. Now I got a roster because now I got all these different flavors that I have. Where if I only had one thing and I only
Right.
knew one thing, that it preserved me and kept me from the breakdown of all the nonsense that we're dealing with today.
Yes.
And
If
then
we
we're
never
even introduced to more temptations now, you know,
Yeah.
where versus back then, not saying people didn't cheat, but it's just that even with social media and just how, you know, the generation dress and just the temptations of the things, how things are just so easy now. It's like, okay, I settled with this one person, and now later on with all of this technology and stuff that came up, and now my man or my mate have these temptations because of what they're watching. So
right.
then they go out and they get some of this temptations, and then I'm left saying, well, my mama told me, you know, to settle. You know, meanwhile, my mate now, because of what's brought in the world, they're going out there to these temptations, and now I'm not in a relationship no more because I decided to listen to mama. You know,
I agree with Derek on that as far as when you're young
Mhm.
and you meet your person, you know, like I tell my daughters, you know, meet somebody, have your meeting. If he chooses to court you, then you settle down and you have a family. You know, you go out there, you're in a club, you drinking, you doing whatever, you having sex, you whatever. It's all it's doing is adding to all of the, you know, whatever trauma or dating issues or, you know, your insecurities. Because believe it or not, a lot of that's gonna come with it. It ain't like you just gonna have this clean slate of dating and then now you meet somebody. No, some of our young kids is going to get dating trauma. They're going to get insecurities. They're going to get babies. They're going to get attitudes because of they chose certain men. Now all men ain't nothing, or all women, or bitch. Like it's some of that is going to happen. You know, not saying that it's not some things that can't happen, but I think, like you said, the innocence of when, you know, you're young, you meet your person and you do it that way, because you're not supposed to, as far as that traditional structure. You're not supposed to go out there and make all these mistakes. Who does that? Like, we're just gonna deliberately and knowingly go make a bunch of mistakes and babies and have gender reveal parties and like all of these different things instead of family, where we know that family gives the children the best chance at life versus this other stuff that we've been told. Like, so we're continuing to choose the failure, or what may have a higher possibility of failure. I'll say that because not everybody is going to fail, but the higher possibility of failure, we're going to choose that over what worked prior to all of the nonsense that was thrown into our culture.
And that is because we in a different day and age now. So what used to be back when our parents was raising us and our parents' parents was raising them, it's not like that no more. So you have to deal with what's here now. So it's either
what changed? What changed?
You either gonna have to meet this new generation at their level and try to show them something better, because they're not trying to hear what great grandma did and what you know what I'm saying.
I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that.
They're not trying to hear that because
no, hold up. Let me just say this. This generation was raised up to think the way they think and deal the way they deal with things, and it ain't like the aliens just dropped them off. No, we raised them. We raised them. We can't just say this generation thinks the way they think and they are the way they are. No, we raised them to be who they are.
You think what I said.
So if we change,
trying to hear what great grandma did back in the day.
That depends on our household.
They're not trying to hear how we were raised with the village.
That's our household.
You know why they're not trying to hear it? Because now they got cooler role models on social media.
Our household.
Because it's easier to get your information and your advice on social media. It's
or the access
to say you're right. Because look at all the different people that's out here giving advice. Who are they catering to? Who are you?
But we can't
advice on what's popular.
We can't excuse a behavior from our people while we watch other communities thrive.
Right.
Like there's an Indian culture, right? There's an Indian culture that they promote. We're gonna be doctors, we're gonna be lawyers, we're gonna be engineers. Do you know that TikTok in America and TikTok in China is two totally different TikToks?
Right.
Absolutely.
But we know this. This is my point to you. We know this, but we continue to do the same thing. We the ones that need to change the nonsense instead of saying they ain't gonna listen to us.
I didn't say that either. I said sometimes you have to. Someone, I think your mic is muted. I didn't say that they won't listen to us. I said sometimes you have to meet them where they are and teach them in a different way, because they're not trying to hear all of that what great grandma and grandma was doing.
That's what I'm trying to get.
You have to teach them in a different way where they're going to gravitate to what you're saying.
That's what I'm trying to get an understanding of. They're not trying to listen to. If this child is raised in my house, you're going to listen to what the hell I tell you. Of course, all of them. Hold up. Let me finish. Of course, all of them is not going to be what you want them to be. They're going to go out in the world, this, that, and the third. But I'm a firm believer in, there's a lot of households, let's say in Patterson, there's a lot of households to whereas the children thrive because the families are a unit and together. They're not as toxic or separate as we are. You have one child, they go to one house and then they go to the other house on the weekend. They listening to two different things, and the parents is beefing, and they're this. Like our children see way too much, and then we wonder why they're the way they are. It's us. It's us. That's why I said we know that in China, their TikTok is teaching engineering, they're teaching math, technology, they're teaching different things. I seen a TikTok video where it was like a 6-year-old girl singing Sexy Red.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not cute. But there's parents that think that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's not funny. And then these children grow into what they grow to be. And then we say, oh, they ain't listening to us. No, this is who we raised. We raised these kids. They ain't just show up. They ain't just knock on the door and was like, hey, mommy, what's up? Like my son, he's 26 years old. And he called me bro one time. And I said, who the fuck you think you talking to? I ain't your bro. It's a standard that we create.
Yep.
It's a standard that we create. And he's 26. I was like, I'm not your bro. Oh no, Dad, that's just, how we talk. It's a vibe. And I was like, call me bro again. I'm your father. We ain't doing that. So we allow a certain type of behavior. We think certain things is funny, but then when things is all out of order, we say things like this, which I don't agree with. It's too many successful cultures for us to say is what it is. No, I see us. I see how we move. We're out of order. Some of us is reckless as the day is long. And then we blame it on everybody else. We got to hold ourselves accountable versus always saying, oh no, they go out in the world, we got to stop the excuses. We got to stop the excuses. That same Indian family that's on Patterson Ave or whatever, Patterson Street or whatever it is, over there in up by Kennedy. But those kids are going to Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
But you go to school, they're in the front row.
Mm-hmm.
Everything every essay is sharp.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing what they're supposed to do. Our kids come home, they write on a video game.
So
what? If you don't do your homework, if you don't do this, that, and the third,
everybody has different rules in their house, and I get it.
Yeah,
I'm not saying don't hold people accountable for the way that your children are acting. I'm not saying that at all. It's just certain kids you have to reach a different type of way. It's not an excuse.
I get it.
That you have to reach them differently because of the world that we live in. If you are always, everybody don't have the same upbringing. Everybody don't have the same type of parents. That's not the reality of the world. Half of these people is barely surviving. So yes, if some people are going to be raised on survival instead of love because they don't got two parents or even a parent in the household, they raising their damn self. Because because you don't have anybody there because mom is always working and dad, who knows where he may be.
But you don't need all of that for accountability. Like my daughter just got into an argument with a little girl, right? Mm-hmm. They called her fake, and then she was like, "Why you call me fake?" The boyfriend of the little girl said, "I'm coming to shoot your school up." What are we doing?
Well, I don't know who raised him, but
We know. Like, what do you mean? I don't know who raised him.
I don't know who raised him, but it doesn't make it right. I'm not saying what what he said was right.
But we got a lot of destruction, and we see like how many times we can see a kid just out of order, and you know you ain't saving college money. You ain't saving no money for college.
No.
Little boy tripping.
Wait, what? Did I miss something?
I don't know.
Wait, what?
Like, we see these kids out here tripping. We see them tripping. Like, I've lived in the age to where I've seen 13-year-olds with dirt bikes and Jordans. And you know it ain't come from the parents. But the parents look by it because they're getting a little cut of what's going on. Like, we see all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We see it, but then we say every household is different. I mean, you can have a different household, but promote education more than you promote bullshit.
You could.
If you spend more time on a video game than you spend on if you spend more time on a video game versus reading a book, educating yourself, getting further than the other children, just getting further than you were the last day. Like Taisha's nieces and nephews. We did a chess tournament, right? They were like one of the only kids that were in there. Mm-hmm. Sharp in chess. Their daily or weekly activities are different from what I see.
Okay, and I get
other children. So maybe we need to change the way that we do things.
So, and I'm not saying that we don't need to change certain things, but I just look at things differently, and the reality of a lot of this stuff. That's just like education.
Like what?
That's just like education. It's not too many parents that are very active in their children's educational life. That's my point. That's my point. It's us. Wait, let me finish. You go to the school board meetings, you go to the football games, you see all of this. But then you have to ask the question, why are you not that active in your child's educational life? Most of the time, some parents are working. So it's hard for them to do this, and it's hard for them to go to school, to the schools, and it's because they have to go to work. I can't make it to my son's football game because I have to go to work on the weekends. So I can't make it to my son's football games. So then you have to have other people to step in order to root your child on at their football games or whatever. We don't have too many people stepping and going out of their way, and because they have their own lives and they have their own children to take care of. You don't have people like back when we was younger who helped. That's extracurricular activities. I said instead of playing video games, read some books. You can't get further in education. But you have to have that structure in your home. That's my point. And that's why I said earlier, there are a lot of parents that are not home with their kids because they're working 2 jobs to take care of their household. Not everybody have 2 jobs. Some of these people is home. Some of them are, but a lot of parents who actually have to take care of their kids and don't get assistance have to hold down 2 jobs. And some don't. Some parents have 1 job and they're home and they entertaining or they chilling. And the kid is up at the kid is up at 12 at night. Hold up. But the kids are up at 12 midnight. There's different men and women coming in the house at all times. It's toxic environments. And instead of reading books and going over education, we're playing video games and watching gang activity, watching parties. And I understand that. And I know. We got to change us. We got to change us. Too. In order to change our children's lives, raising our kids. So therefore, then what's the solution to get into those parents? You have to have a solution in order to help somebody if you feel as though they're going down the wrong path.
Accountability is first. If we don't call it out,
You know how long
if we don't call it out, and Derek, as they say in the church, if we don't shame the devil, we just continue. If we just continue to push to kick the can like ain't nothing going on, like it's all good, instead of saying this is some nonsense, it's gonna continue.
Okay, Tawana. Tawana said that she had to leave because people keep calling her on Facebook and this disturbing her live. She'll stay in the comments.
Well, we about to get off. And y'all keep and I told Justice this the other day. I'll be typing and typing and typing and typing. Hit the link, come on, say your piece so we can have a conversation and move on. Because I ain't reading all that. Especially Kamisha. I ain't reading that, Kamisha. I saw that book you wrote.
Erica. Made me forget what I was gonna say.
This is right. Some parents are trying to be friends instead of parents. It's true.
Absolutely. And I'm
You got
not
a bunch of F's. Come on, cousin.
Agreeing with you with that part.
You got a bunch of F's. You got a bunch of F's and a bunch of Jordans. You a cute dummy.
I never said
you a fly, cute.
There are a lot of parents that are trying to be their parents' friends. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that it is other things that do go on that are a big problem. That is a big problem in this community when it comes to us helping each other, knowing that it's another person that got kids out here that's struggling, but ain't nobody trying to help them either.
It's people that'll help is if you want the help or you seek the help out.
It's not.
Some of our egos won't allow us. Even with the mothers and the fathers. You know, even the mothers and the fathers. But I get it.
Which one? I'm looking for a Kamisha. Oh, Kamisha says, why are we always comparing ourselves to other cultures? No culture is perfect. Most are going through the same things within their communities. I'm an educator. I promise you, all of these kids across all cultures are going through it.
Because you have to look at a model of success. You have to look at a model of success. If I'm a man and I'm looking for mentorship, I'm looking for I'm looking for what works. Evidently, if what I'm doing is not working, I need to change up some things. Like they look at our culture for what's cool, what's hip, the dances, the music. We need to look to see how we can better in education. How we can take and steal some things as far as how we can get our children, you know, how we can get our children on board as far as education. There's no need, it's no reason, it's no problem with that. Why do we see a problem with, you know, looking for solutions? We can look for solutions in other cultures. What's wrong with that? I don't see no problem with that.
Kamisha says, so nothing we do within our culture works.
No, nobody said that. Why do we do that? Why do we do that?
Knowledge. Our kids are excelling as well.
We have some that's excelling, but we're still at the bottom. And it's not a thing of comparing. It's a thing of we need to do better. Here goes Miss Darlene.
Our children are very capable of learning, and it has nothing to do with culture.
I don't agree with that. Our culture right now is shifted into an entertainment culture. Mm-hmm. It's about entertainment right now. It's about social media. It's about TikTok videos. It's about all of this other stuff like that.
Can you repost the link? Because Darlene want to come on.
You can do that. While she's doing that, let me I'll be right back.
He's reposting the link, Darlene. Derek, stop getting that comfortable.
You turned off your camera. You can't tell me to stop getting that comfortable.
Because I ain't want my son on the podcast, so I turned off my camera. I'm gonna turn it back on. It's there, Darlene. And like Erica said, we no longer have that family village and community mentality that we used to have. So if one parent had to work, the mom in the house next door looked out for your child. And that is exactly true, because that's how I was raised.
That's how all of us was raised. But
we no longer do that because we have this new generation of parents who don't want you disciplining their child, don't want you yelling at their child, don't want you doing this with their child, don't want you doing that. So therefore you back off, because at the end of the day, what they always say, this is my child, I'm their mother. And that's just what it is. And I'm not about to sit up here and get into no fist fight with nobody about their child. That's your child. You go ahead and do what you do, because I'm not about to fight you over your child that you birthed.
I'm with you. I'm definitely with you.
Hey, Miss Darlene, how you doing?
I'm good. I really don't want to be on camera because my hair ain't done. But when I heard,
out?
huh?
I say you all vacationed out.
No, not really. but
Come on with it. Come on with it.
Okay, this is it. All right. First of all, the children in our Black children, and I can speak for in Patterson. All right. The reason why they may not be excelling certainly has nothing at all to do with their capacity to be able to learn. What the problem is that you have people in there that's not making the concerted effort for them to learn. And I'll give you several examples, okay? The first one is that when I found some children that were excelling extremely high, and there's the New Jersey Seeds program, which will pay over $250,000 for a child to go to an Ivy League high school. Okay, so I found some children that were capable, and there's a white foundation that does the exact same thing. I asked for my boss at the time to get in touch with the head of guidance so that we could get these children into that program. First of all, the guidance who didn't call his people in. And the day before the conference, I called him and I asked him how many people he had, okay? Oh, well, I didn't contact the guidance counselors. Now, we have 50-some schools. Why don't you contact them? First of all, I'm not their boss, and I can't tell them when to take off and come down to the district and have a meeting, okay? But he rustled up a few of them, okay? And we went there. Or they came down to the district office to meet with the people. So through the conversation, he's telling me that the reason why their guidance counselors don't push this program is because when these children excel, all right, Patterson School District is not going to get the credit. And I'm like, first of all, I'm confused because I didn't think that he was saying what he was saying, all right? I said, let me get this straight. Are you telling me that these children get in the Ivy League where somebody's willing to spend $250,000 for these children to go to high school in Ivy League high schools, and you're telling me that you would hold them back because you're not going to get the credit? Are you freaking crazy? And then even the managers there said absolutely nothing. That's one example, okay? Then the second example is that when these children are excelling, and there's a lot of them, some of the parents are not there pushing. There was a parent I tried to get in touch with, because even if the guidance counselor didn't do it, I could push you into this, show you how to do it, get it done. Well, you know, he gonna have to go away? No, you can choose the school that he goes to. All right. I don't think he gonna like it. It doesn't. How do you let a child make that kind of decision? It could change his life. So my thing is ignorance on the parents' part in some cases. Other cases are that the district does not put into place things. We did another program when we were having trouble with boys, right? And it was so bad, we created a program called Boys to Men. All right. It was a 7-week program. And we got the worst kids in the school because they couldn't come back to school until their parents came to the school. And I went and got Aubrey Johnson, who was the assistant superintendent at the time, and he supported the program. The police station was involved. Raheem Small who was involved. They came in on Saturday mornings. They had to run drills. Then they taught them, they educated them on rites of passage. And then in the afternoon, they were able to play sports. None of those kids wanted to stop that program, and they were excelling. Their behavior changed. You would think that the school would pick something up like that and then continue it on. Hell no. You know why? Because this is not something that's happening by accident. It's strategic that these children are not educated. It's strategic to make them feel as though they can't achieve. And until we get involved, until we call people out and stop allowing them to screw over these children, our Black culture, it's not that they don't have the capacity to do it. They have more than the capacity to do it. I have a little girl right now that they lied on her, okay? And her parents came in, and the people thought that I was going to support the people that lied on her. I said, oh, hell no. That girl told the exact truth. See, the thing is that people won't stand up for what's right. It's bullshit. They want you to go along with the get along. They don't want you to say anything. They're not educated. And then another program I went to where we were meeting, and they're going to start running statistics. Well, you know, we got parents together, and most of them were Spanish and this and that and the other. So I said, well, there's 30,000. And when people start talking in percentages, you know they lying, right? So I said, well, what percentage was that? Exactly how many people was it? 29 people. So you mean to tell me you never contacted our department who had our finger on the pulse of the parents? You get 29 people from wherever you got them from, and you're going to make decisions for the entire district? Listen, I know for a fact, because that's why I had to leave it, because it was bullshit and it aggravated the crap out of me that they did not educate even programs. When I was worked at School 28, the teachers stayed after school. They worked with every program, and I thought that they did that in every school. I went to School 13. I couldn't pay one of them mugs to stay after school and help me with the parents. Don't tell me. I know for a fact those kids want to learn. They want somebody to encourage them.
Let me ask you a question, because I know when you get to cooking, you be cooking, boy.
That's right. Because when you don't educate my Black children, I'm pissed off.
Yeah. So let me just ask this, because it sounded like you agreed within that whole rant, you know, of what you were saying, because I'm in agreement that our children are capable. I'm in agreement. We got some brilliant children.
Absolutely.
But I said that some of the parents need to be held accountable as well.
That's absolutely right.
Why am I having an uproar about that?
Then another
Parents
thing
need
is
to be
that
held accountable.
women have to stop coddling their sons, okay? Because the fathers out there, they coddle them too much. Boys got to be boys, you know, and you treating them like little girls. Like, you know, like you have to let them grow up, and you have to hold them accountable. I had a parent, her son, you know, when I held his little feet to the fire, she was like, well, he can't. Yes, he can help, because he can help it when he's here, so he can help it at home. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think everybody on some level is failing these children. I think that the parents need to be involved, because if the parents understood their power, if the parents took their butts to those board meetings and held them accountable for the decisions that they make that's hindering these children from learning, and then get together and sue the district.
Simple. Why do people feel like it's a dagger being stabbed in the back of the community to say that parents need to be held accountable?
Oh, without a doubt. Without it, I bet you what. I bet you what. Hand out some toys. All their asses are there. Hand out some. Call somebody, some Jay-Z or some anybody. They flood the place. But you tell them to come to a board meeting where their children's education is being threatened. They don't show up. And we got to stop trying to pretend like we don't know that exists. It exists every day.
Exactly.
So no, I didn't see. I hadn't heard the conversation. I had just clicked on, and I heard them say. It seemed like I heard somebody saying that it appeared that like these kids aren't being educated. When a parent is involved, and Kira, you know that because that's how I met you. You were involved. You didn't let shit slide. That's how I met you when your son was in my school. And you held people, shit, you held me to account. And you remember when you talked to when I wrote a letter to the superintendent about whatever was going on, I still have that letter and she ignored the situation that I was working on with you. Yeah. Am I right or wrong? You're right. So you tell me that they trying to educate them kids, that's bullshit. When they ignore a parent, but what we should have did then was went down there 30 parents deep. You know what I mean? And held her to account. Cicely Tice, what's Cicely Warren? That's who I wrote the letter. I remember. Yeah. Yeah. And so here I am fighting for what these children deserve, and they kicking me and you in the butt. Then I have to cuss them out, and then my boss is hollering at me because I'm cussing out whoever get on my nerve, and you know that. Yeah. Karen, so there it is. So I'm gonna get off this thing. I just want to make my point. All
right, Miss Darlene. You know I'm gonna be calling you later.
All right, okay. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
All right, love you, Darlene.
Love you too.
All right.
All right, lovely people. We thank y'all for tuning in.
Miss Darlene told y'all. Yeah, hell yeah.
We thank y'all for tuning in.
Don't fly by that.
I'm not. I'm
Miss Darlene told all y'all. But when I say it,
nobody was disagreeing with what you were saying, Sean. Oh. You just want to take it like somebody was disagreeing with what you were saying. Okay, I was just pointing out other factors that is a real problem. Because people think that it's so easy to always resources out here, but if the resources are, if you're not getting the resources, or should I say the resources, or for the people that you know, because everybody don't get these resources. It's all about who you know.
Not just that
I need the help.
Not just like I said, instead of a PS5,
instead of like to ignore certain things, and that's
all I said. All I said was, instead of a PS5, buy some books. Instead of jumping on a game, do some mathematics. If your kid ain't getting educated in that school system the way that you feel they is, then you need to do some stuff at home.
Yeah, some people can't because they need to be a little bit more educated themselves, which is why these schools
accountability.
Which is why these kids should be giving parents workshops so they could better help their children at home. It's a lot of things that need to be done in order for us to help us move our children along in education.
I agree. I don't know some of that stuff myself. I can put a fire out though.
So if you don't know it and your kid come home asking for help, how you supposed to help them if you don't even know it? Which is why they should be doing parent workshops so parents can be upgraded on what they know, because all we're gonna do is teach them what we know.
I agree.
All right, people. Derek over there asleep. So, so we gotta get up. We gotta get up out of here. So
no, Derek, he wasn't.
So Derek could go on to bed. But I do thank y'all for tuning in.
I was about to get down with Shade. Like I'm about to go sit in the chat too.
So we thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Thank y'all for joining the conversation. Tawana, Miss Shade herself, we thank you so much for joining us on this conversation, even though you got people kept calling you on Facebook. But we do thank you for
all they doing. They said we're gonna jump your cousin.
And hopefully you'll come on again as a co-host. I want to thank everybody that I got texts and instant messages and things like that from when Candid Conversations anniversary was last Tuesday, but we did not come on with the show. We didn't come on. But I thank all of y'all for y'all kind words. And congratulations and all that other good stuff. I thank y'all. Y'all just make sure y'all go onto our YouTube page, like, follow, and subscribe. All of y'all that's following Facebook, go follow us on YouTube. And I just thank y'all. And I just want to do one more thing. I want to give a real special shout out to my daughter.
Derek about to smack the mess out of you.
He'll be all right. I want to give a special shout out to my daughter. Yesterday, my daughter in Felician University track and field indoor won the championship. So I want to say congratulations to my baby in the Felician University track team for winning the championship. My baby coming home with 2 rings and a degree in May. So I'm proud of you, boo.
Killing it, cousin. Kill it, cousin.
That's right. So, does anybody have anything else to say before we end this podcast?
Miss Darlene told y'all.
Darlene told us. Thank you, Darlene. We appreciate you.
She got my back.
We will see y'all all next week, same time, same place.
Look at Derek. Hold on, wait. Look at Derek.
Thank you, Erica. Thank y'all.
Yo. Look at Derek. Derek look like a bear that just came out of hibernation. They're like, what happened? What's going on?
Derek is exhausted, y'all.
That's my man, though.
Yeah, and so I understand Derek pain. I'm tired too.
Don't worry about it, Derek. I got jump for both of us.
Derek ain't got no words.
Let's get back to family.
Good night, everybody. Love, peace, and blessings. We will see y'all next Tuesday, same time, same place.